All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search, see if it's got a BSS. So we're back here in the GPC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left, we got the highest intent people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest intent people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent people. These are, reached by interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're going to dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so that's what we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link and, price shopping everyone and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the what a seller can get. And it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs, and still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other seller, every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about thinking if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And, you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase or, actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Best part is, requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking, way too much maintenance for, not enough outcome there. Next, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing Boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but one slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise, in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page 1 Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also, SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known, massive brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page 1 Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page 1, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is, it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is, page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere a boudoir buyer looks. Obviously, our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand. And it actually speeds out the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more, kicking more pieces off page 1. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? It's the 3rd person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. We've got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality. And we now have a solution, execute methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my execute methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page 1, this is Google organic page 1, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, all by purely using S-cubed methodology. All right, main event here. You can see this boudoir photography business. Check its local search, check its city search. Go to Ankeny and Des Moines, Iowa. Ankeny and Des Moines, Iowa, let's see. All right, boom. All right, let's see what we got here. Boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Get rid of that. All right, so we only got, well, we got 2, so that's no BSS. We're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. All right, so we got 2. 2 for local. Let's check city. Boom, we got 1. It's nice too, first slot. And all right, we got 1, we got 1, we got 1. We got 1 out of 10. All right, so local, we got 2 out of 10. So we don't have BSS, but we did not reach the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1, Google search. City, we got 1 out of 10, so we do have BSS, and we also did not reach the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you did your local search for yourself and your city search for yourself, and you're saying you have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and or you have not reached the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, and you now understand and you've accepted that page 1 equality is a false belief, that boudoir photographers is not given 0, 1 slots on page 1. They can actually take, and Google will give them as many page 1 slots as they want to put in the effort for. And you see the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you understand the market saturation? Yeah, people get phones. Yeah, more boudoir photographers over time. People get cameras. Yep, more boudoir photographers over time. And you're actually thinking ahead. You're seeing AI taking people's jobs, which is actually going to force more people into the marketplace as boudoir photographers. So it's going to saturate the market more and more because why? Everyone's got an amazing camera on their smartphone. So that'll be the easiest thing for people to become or to throw up their Google business profile or offer in the marketplace on the mom groups in a boudoir photographer. And as a result, we actually, so you've actually decided you decided you want to fortify your positions, kind of like levees in New Orleans, kind of keeping the ocean water out because New Orleans is below sea level. So you decided you want to fortify your position in preparation of all the increasing new boudoir photographers going to be coming into the market because of AI taking people's jobs. And you also want to kick out current competitors from page 1, which you can see S-cubed methodology can help with both, and kind of establish your current position more and fortify your position more against the future boudoir photographers that are inevitably going to be entering the market. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only path to get you there. You want to achieve page 1 visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer. You want to have boudoir search visibility because you know you need it on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the extra back-end benefits of doing all this, S-cubed methodology every single day, what it actually does is it creates thematic keyword columns around your name, around your brand, around your business's name. And what building these invisible thematic keyword columns do attached to your brand, your business, they actually increase the probability you get recommended here AI overview, the most premium slot on the page, where many times it'll only be recommend one boudoir photographer in the AI overview. And so you've actually decided, you see kind of these back-end benefits of S-cubed methodology as well, which is increase in probability AI overview recommends us every time, every day S-cubed methodology is executed. It increases that probability. And on, also the second back-end benefit is all the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, all those searches, when someone's searching, boudoir photographer in my city, as we utilize S-cubed methodology to build up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, higher probability we get recommended by the AI search. And this just increases over time the more we execute S-cubed methodology. Now, right now, Google's still approximately 90% of global search, but AI search increases every single day. I mean, I don't think I've used Google search to actually click on links and read stuff in like a year. But I use, Google AI mode, click the tab all the time. I don't want to click through things to read it. Simply give me the summary. And last time I used AI search, I used ChatGPT search to find some boudoir photographers in a city, or recommend some, and it gave me 3. But dude, the city had like 60. Like when I owned to manually look. So a higher chance we get recommended in those. And also you understand kind of more you build up these invisible thematic keywords associated to your brand, your profiles, and all that, which only S-cubed methodology can deliver, that the more momentum you're building and the larger space you're building between you and your competitors that are behind you, or competitors in the city. Because right now my plan is to only operate with one boudoir photographer in the city, which means, dude, we'll be getting massive progress, or kind of massive distance between us and your competitors. And you realize if your competitor instead went with me, you would have to rederive S-cubed methodology all on your own, and go out and execute it. You probably wouldn't be confident executing it because you wouldn't know if you derived and are even using the methodology correctly. But then you'd have to go out execute me and your competitor. But actually, you'd have to equal our execution to simply maintain our gap, the gap that we got ahead of you with. And you'd actually have to actually double or triple our output to, catch up and overtake our gap and overtake the progress we've already made, steal back the momentum, the invisible thematic keyword columns that we had been working to attach to their brand. You'd have to overcome that all on your own and kind of rederive the whole system from the jump. So you decide, screw that. It's better to simply be the first mover here, seal off anyone else, any other competitor in your city from using this strategy. And you decide S-cubed methodology is the path that you want to go down. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently taking new patients. But as when I do open up for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.